Hey, 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 hey.
We're live.
We're back. It's Sean Doherty, the business strategist of the Giving Excellence Movement. We got
Dunn.
Michael Dunn in the house. He's the creative director. We're at Spayse Studios in Dallas, Texas. We are so honored to be here. Yeah. Israel's putting it on. Shannon Hook is behind the camera today. Yeah. We are so gracious for Spayse Studios to give us the opportunity to do our live stream podcast. We are airing on Facebook Live on Spayse Studios, as well as YouTube. Mike, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
You know, I'm just looking forward to this episode. We got a lot of great entrepreneurs, a lot of creatives, people who obviously built themselves up to be valuable people in this world and doing some amazing things. So I'm looking forward to the audience to really catch some of this good content, take it and apply it in their life and make great things happen.
Talk to me. I love it.
That's what we're doing.
Man, we got so many powerful people here, not only the guests today, but also their friends, family. It's just a loving environment here at Spayse Studios. And, you know, if you're ever interested in coming through to Spayse Studios, please let us know, because they take care of you and they go above and beyond each and every time that we're here. So thank you so much. We got Jonathan Jones in the house. If you don't know him, it's about time.
Mr. Jones.
He goes by Jonathan Jones Speaks. He goes across the country and educates millennials. He teaches business owners. He's just been a real mentor for me as well. He actually wrote this book called Process, 14 Surprisingly Simple Behaviors to Skyrocket Millennials to Success. I think that we have a huge need in the millennial generation to bridge that gap between the baby boomers and just really understand how they work. And he does an amazing job to help owners of companies really understand that. A lot of millennials love to be a part of something great, and I think that Jonathan Jones really gives a template of how to live out your life as a millennial and really give you guidance, and not to harp on, you know, anything negative. It gives you a handbook, and I've actually applied a lot of it to my day-to-day life. And so we're going to talk about Process, but if you haven't checked it out, it's going to be on Amazon as well as different outlets. He's going to talk a little bit about that, but I want y'all to hear a little bit about what he represents, his mission in life, as well as kind of what he gives clients that he goes to and speaks to, kind of what he has to offer. So we're going to cut to Jonathan Jones here in just a second, and you guys just listen to what he has to say. And he really loves the youth, and I can't wait to interview him and hear from him today. So we're going to go ahead and take it away and listen to Jonathan here.
Well, I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to be here with the Giving Excellence show. Understanding that y'all do give excellence and all that y'all do, just seeing the work that Mike's doing as far as speaking with schools, and just seeing how Sean partners with different individuals in the business sector. And I think that's really phenomenal, just what they're both doing. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity. But with Jonathan Jones Speaks, one thing that we really pride ourselves on doing is empowering students and millennials to pursue their passions for entrepreneurship, because we believe that each and every one of us has a unique gift specifically given for us. And just how some of us, our hearts are geared towards different passions and different things like that. I like to challenge individuals when I sit down and do intimate sessions, or when we do conferences or different things like that, and challenge them as we work through Process, and just seeing, you know, what are you passionate about, to see what drives you, to see what wakes you up in the morning, and then seeing how we can take that and then to where we can turn it into you, turning your passion virtually into a paycheck. But I'm really here to empower students and millennials to pursue those passions, because too often I think individuals have these gifts that they're sleeping on. They have these gifts that they're not pursuing. They have these gifts that they sometimes may downplay and say, well, my gift isn't as good as my friends, or my dad's a great speaker, so that can't be my gift either. But today I'm here to wake up a sleeping giant. Today I'm here to speak to somebody's soul. Today I'm here just to encourage somebody to wake up and just continue to walk forward in that purpose.
Love it. Go ahead and air that commercial for us, Shannon. We appreciate it.
And men can't lead being average. Average.
Back in action. You got your headphones on.
You got it together.
Man, it's just so amazing to be here. I'm gonna go ahead and give his precious book to him. And Jonathan, man, talk a little bit about, maybe just a little bit about your background, how you got here, and what your grand vision is. Because, I mean, you're a young guy, even though you present yourself so professionally and so honorably whenever you're in actually every setting. But how did you even get that presence? How did you get to the moment you're in? You must have had a strong background. Maybe was it a leader or a mentor in your life? But talk a little bit about how you grew up and, you know, what kind of route you're on right now.
Gotcha. Man, so for me, it was me, my brother, mom and dad, and then they divorced when I was at a very young age.
Okay.
Extremely young age. My parents divorced. We'll fast forward a little bit. And, dude, I used to run from leadership.
Okay.
When it came to jobs, when it came to group work in class, no, thank you. Jonathan, you want to lead? No, thank you. You can have it. I don't want, that's too much responsibility. So I always found myself in positions to where people would come to me for instruction or guidance, and then I would always try to stray away from it. I don't want leadership, because with leadership comes more responsibility.
Sure does.
And then in those cases, Mike, I found myself at work.
Okay.
And then at one particular job, I was here. At this point, it was like 2.5 years working retail. And then I saw managers go in and out. It was a revolving door. I probably saw 4 managers, and I was the last man standing. Like, okay, Jonathan, well, it's time for you to be a manager. No, it's not. Jonathan, well, I mean, you know how to do everything. Managers are coming up to me asking me questions.
Right.
And I would have the answer, and they're like, well, you should just bump up. No. And then one day my manager approached me. She said, Jonathan, she said, your attitude, she said, it sucks. And of course, when somebody hits you with something like that, you look at them, and in your mind, you're thinking, no, your attitude sucks.
Right.
But then that really challenged me. Like somebody asking you a really good question, it challenged me in a really good way. And I had to go home and I had to self-reflect. And then it got to that point where I had to realize that I had so much to be grateful for, as well as I had influence in that particular store. And then when I realized I had influence, I had to understand that people were following me if I had a bad attitude or if, you know, I showed a positive attitude. So then I had to realize that I need to take advantage of that, and I need to start using this in a positive manner. And that's when the ball started rolling.
Okay.
Shifted your thoughts.
So you're saying that you grew up as a, lack of better words, an ignorant young man, thinking that you had it all figured out, but it took maybe one person to just kind of give you a jab right to the chin to just wake you up. Because I think that a lot of us go through that. It almost takes some sort of setback for us to realize and wake up how big of an impact we really do have in this world. So that's amazing, man. And I know you probably touched on your book a little bit, Process, and we're going to follow up on how to connect with you on that. But, you know, as you were going through your job world, how did you feel like you had a niche to really connect with millennials and really bridge the gap? I think a lot of people try to do it, but I think that your book is a great template for millennials to read, but also CEOs of companies or previous generations to really understand the way people think nowadays and how technology has kind of transformed the way the world works now. Can you touch on a little bit about your book and your vision behind it when you wrote it?
Well, typically we know when we hear the term millennial, more times than not, it comes with a stigma attached to it.
Right. Negative one, typically.
Definitely.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's just because all things that we don't understand, even in our lives, you know, if we're talking about our parents, we're talking about our sons, you know, things like that. Things that we don't understand, we just try to stay away from. Food we haven't tried before. No, thank you. I don't want to try squid. Have you ever tried before? No, I haven't, but I don't want to try it. That way we'll never know if we like it or if we don't. But understanding that millennials have so much potential, and us being in that category, and I just saw value. Well, first, let me not brush past the fact that my dad challenged me to write the book first because I felt that I wasn't adequate enough to write a book. I felt that I didn't have enough to share with the world to write a book. And then my dad said, "Son, I think you have a voice. I think you have something to say, and I think you really can play a part in the movement." And of course, I was like, "Dad, you're just saying that because you're my dad. You're just trying to encourage me because that's what dads do." But then understanding that the information that I've been able to receive from CEOs and other bosses that I've worked under and different volunteer opportunities that I've had, that putting those things in a book and then providing, like you said, a template just to guide and challenge other individuals. At the end of each chapter, I put self-reflection questions just so that whoever's reading the book, it directly applies to them in their life, wherever they are. Mm-hmm. So, taking the time to self-reflect, I think, is huge. And I think that's really where growth starts, because in life, we're moving so fast.
Right.
We have to be everywhere, and we don't take a time to stop and reflect. Just like you were talking about earlier, Mike, mindfulness.
Right.
When we take the time to be present in a moment, and we take the time to understand, wait a minute, let me slow down. Let me be grateful for.
Be aware of the moment.
Yeah, being aware of the moment. When you're aware of the moment, you can appreciate the moment so much more.
Right.
So really just, creating mindfulness, and then also creating the opportunity for people to self-reflect, write their goals out, make them plain, and then take action on them.
Okay.
Then I think that's how we can continue to move forward in our dreams, our pursuits, our passions.
And what we want to do.
Awesome, dude. And I think that what's amazing about you is that you have such open ears and such curiosity, and you're willing to sit down with CEOs that maybe other people might shy away for. I think that always asking questions and applying yourself is something that keeps us from being successful in life. So you have to be active in your search for meaning, in your search of planning and what kind of legacy you want to leave. Mike, let's jump to Jonathan. Not only is an author, but he's a public speaker as well. And that's, he's amazing at that. That's his niche. That's his thing. And Mike, really, if you want to talk a little bit about that, how much you look up to him in that category.
Yeah, definitely, because, public speaking, that's something that obviously everybody cannot truly do. So it's obviously, it's one of those factors where you have a voice, you have a gift, you have a niche to really help people. And, one of my questions is, like, how did you know, like, that the youth, how did you know, and when did you know that you wanted to impact the youth? And how did you figure it out to that point where you say, you know what, this is my goal of what I'm going to be a speaker, and I'm going to speak to these people because I have a message. What do you feel like that came from at a point in your life? Because, obviously you mentioned your father has been a huge influence, especially being obviously Black in America in this world, period. A lot of our people do not have that father figure within their homes. So just on that question, how has that helped you transition to be able to also help the young? Because I see you speak to a lot of young youth, a lot of young brothers that are obviously.
That some people might not think that they can receive that high level knowledge even at that young age. Yeah. So is it what's inside you that feels like that's a ripe age and that's a good age to hit? If you even have a certain age group that you like to hit, you must see some sort of potential in this next generation to be able to pour your heart into something like that.
Dude, there's so much potential in this next generation, just like we were talking about earlier, Mike, with your sons, how your sons out there have those books, and sometimes I think we can be quick to say, who can or who can't receive what message is being given, but we're not giving these young little babies the opportunity to prove themselves, because they know a lot more than we give them credit for. They know so much,
especially in the world we live in today.
Yeah, they know so much, and they've been exposed to some of them have even been exposed to more than we've been exposed to in our lives. But for me, the specific experience I think that really turned me on, I talk about it in the book, is this camp called Camp Jubilee, and it's out in Meridian,
I remember that
Texas.
story.
Yes, it's out in Meridian, Texas, and this is a camp that's put on, hosted at Camp John Mark is the facility. Okay. And this is for children with sickle cell anemia. I went out there one summer, and there was a gentleman. His name's Robert Triggs, and then he was like, "Man, these kids, they're really clinging to you." Yeah. And I looked at him, and I began to think, well, I'm just another guy out here. I'm just volunteering like everybody else. He said, "No, the way the kids really they really attach to you, I think there's something special." Then I brushed it off. I brushed it off. And then there was another gentleman who was at that camp, and he's been there since the camp's inception. And that's been 20 plus years now at this point. And he was like, "Jonathan, I think we're going to pass the torch to you and my best friend Chibuzo Elanu at that time." Because we began to see that, that they need to see more of us in these spaces, and us being men as well as being African-American men, but giving back. If we don't show that we can give back to our youth, or we don't show that we can invest in our own community, then why should anybody else? Yeah. So it definitely starts with us.
And that's so amazing to hear. The reason being is that we're all so busy in our personal lives, and you have to schedule time aside to pour back into the youth. And some people might just say, "Oh, they're getting great education in the public schools." Can you kind of touch on that? Because I think there's a lot of unknowns about how the school system's set up today. that the creative-minded individuals kind of get left aside. Maybe some schools do. Maybe some Montessori's or different creative schools like Booker T, Washington here in Dallas, that stimulate the mind in different ways, because we all work different, and some people learn faster than others, but also some people that might not pay attention in school have a gift in something completely separate than sitting in a desk and just staring at a teacher all day. And I think that's the untapped potential that we need to really focus on, and that comes back to the entrepreneurial spirit. A lot of those kids have this spirit, they just don't have guidance. And I did want to ask you a little bit about entrepreneurship as well, Jonathan. You say that you want to encourage entrepreneurship with the youth. What do you say to kids that maybe don't have that drive to even own their own business? Because entrepreneurship, in a nutshell, I saw one of your videos, you defined entrepreneurship. But what do you say to kids that maybe just aren't cut out for that? Is everyone cut out for it? Or maybe is someone have a different calling?
Well, first I would say that entrepreneurship or full-time entrepreneurship is not everyone's ministry. I'll say that.
Okay.
Thank you.
But also with that, we have to understand that somebody might want to be a part-time entrepreneur,
right?
Or somebody might be groomed, or they might be raised in an environment where they want to go into the workforce.
But to give them that option at least.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean, most definitely.
And it's reachable.
It's definitely attainable, but still, if they've never been exposed to someone who's an entrepreneur, they've never seen what entrepreneurship really looks like, then they know what they know. And I mean that's just it. But to your point about the teachers, I will say that there are some teachers, and if I ask y'all who was your favorite teacher, you would be able to name off a teacher, and more likely than not, that teacher was your favorite, not because of what they taught, but because of how they taught it and how they tied in real life application, real life experience.
Right.
And I think that's what separates the most effective teachers, as well as just those individuals who continue to build lifelong relationships with their students, and who have that relationship to where they continue to help them, as they navigate through, compared to some other teachers who just teach you what's in the book. And then once you graduate from the class, you're like, okay, I learned what I need to learn for that test. But now how am I going to apply this in my life? You might not necessarily be able to. So, I mean, it's
right,
a seesaw sometimes. It's a seesaw sometimes. It just with teachers and also, I mean, I want to give some teachers credit. I don't want to beat them up because they have to stick to
them. It's huge.
Yeah, they have to stick to a certain curriculum,
right?
And now they have to outline objectives,
right?
And all those things. So some teachers are even restrained in what they can offer their students.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. Now, I do want to touch on, Mike, if you have anything to ask Jonathan, feel free to as well.
Of course,
I'm gonna lead into his current master's endeavor, but go ahead and you want me to ask him? Okay. So I know a little bit about Jonathan. We've networked throughout the years, and actually probably 1 year, he was a part of the Initiative Network. I met him at Commemoration, which is a group of 72 local missionaries that go out 2 by 2 to share the gospel and to lead people closer to Christ. And I don't know if that's for you or not, but I know that it's definitely changed my mindset, and Jonathan's been a huge part of that. I met him when he graduated the course and bought one of his books and read it that same day. But it definitely captivated me because being a part of the Initiative Network really put a purpose on my life in the fact that we have a great mission to be leaders in whatever industry we're in. If you're a full-time manager, if you're a full-time artist, if you're an accountant, if you're in the office all day, that's your local missionary, if you must. So be great in that place, even if you're not happy where you're at. Be the leader in that situation, and Jonathan is taking full reins of that. He's getting his master's right now in family and marital counseling.
Wow!
So the dude is an entrepreneur. He's getting some education. He's producing books. I don't even know what he has coming up, but I know that the man never stops. But it's just he has energy. That's the thing is you might feel like you don't have time to do these things, but you make time, and he's just a huge, great testament to that. And I always want to reach towards him. Whatever he's doing, I want to try and grab it. I want to keep the momentum that he's laying out there. It inspires me and Mike to do what we do because he's one man, we're two people, and we want to not only get on his level, we want to partner up with this guy because he's a leader in every way of his life. And so that's what Giving Excellence is all about. We want to be leaders and entrepreneurs, and we want to give excellence in every area of our lives. So why not partner with people that are doing the same thing? So Jonathan, how can we learn from your successes? Where do you want to be maybe at the end of this year or in the next 5 years? What is your huge vision? Because I know you got a huge vision. And what's your mission, at the end of the day?
Man, wow. So first, I just want to say thank you just for what you shared. And I mean, I love seeing the work y'all doing. When I look up on the Giving Excellence page, I see y'all in schools. I see y'all in Houston at Super Bowls and stuff like that.
Hey.
So I think that's super awesome. That y'all are just continuing to give excellence, and move the culture forward. Because I think that's one thing that people negate sometimes in growing, in growth, in life.
Oh yeah.
Relationships.
Oh man, that's
relationships. People oftentimes, they don't give credit where credit's due.
Right.
But we have to, thank those who have been standing by our sides. Thank those who would come to events when nobody else was there.
Right.
Thank those people who, poured into us when we're down to our last. But man, for me, I forgot the question. I really just forgot the question.
The vision.
What's your grand vision?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Where do you see yourself as far as impacting, giving back? Because what age are you now?
I'm 29 right now.
You're 29.
29,
so
yeah.
You have many years left,
yeah.
and you're growing on a fast trajectory. So there's no limits to the things that you can do. But at the end of the day, where do you see yourself making the most impact, and what is your whole meaning for doing all of this? Because here at Giving Excellence, our goal, our vision is to be professional role models in every entertainment category. So we want to be on that platform so that kids can look up to role models and see leaders that are not only being creative, making music, whatever it may be, being on TV shows, hosting events. We want to hold our character and give excellence on those platforms, and we want to be a constant in the eyes of the youth on each level. So where do you see your niche being, and your grand vision?
My niche would be two-pronged. And first, I would say working with the millennials, because that's really where my heart is. Like I said before, there's so much potential in our generation, and just continuing to encourage millennials to pursue their passions for entrepreneurship if that's where they're called.
Right.
If not, then that's fine too, because I believe everybody, like I said before, has that gift, and with that gift, you might want to monetize it. You might want to use it specifically for service, and that's fine either way. But then also on the other side, my heart has been turned lately, and really just drawn to the young men who are in the prison system, because
talk to us about that.
Every probably once a week, I have the opportunity to go to the facility called the Cottrell House. And these are young men who were recently locked up, and then now they go to that halfway house, which is Cottrell House. Yeah. And then from there, they're getting ready to get reintegrated into society. So working with them, and every time anybody purchases a copy of Process, I donate a book to them.
Perfect.
So everybody who purchases a book, they sponsor the young men. And one thing we're getting ready to roll out is we're going to start doing workshops in there to where we can do intimate sessions.
Awesome.
And just continue to pour into them and letting them know that they're not forgotten. Right. Letting them know that they have purpose. Letting them know that they can give excellence in the world.
Talk about setbacks.
Yeah, they have something to offer. They definitely have something to offer. And oftentimes when individuals are locked up and things like that happen, sometimes they have smudges on their record to where they don't have the opportunity to work for somebody. And some of them out here like, I want to do what's right. Some of these young men have children, and they're trying to do the straight and narrow, but they don't have opportunity to work for anybody because of a mistake they made when they were 15, 14, different things like that. So really working with the millennials and really working with those young men who are locked up in the legal system, because I believe that's where the home really is steered, either in a positive manner or in a negative manner, just based on the type of man that's in that household.
Right.
So that's definitely where my heart is.
Man, that's
perfect. That's amazing.
That's a really great brother that you have a heart to help people in that situation, because a lot of times I truly believe that everybody deserves a second chance at one point in their lives. We're all human beings. We all make mistakes. But it's great that you're going in there and encouraging them and ministering to those young men, because, like you said, everybody does have a purpose. And some people know their purpose at a younger age. Some people know their purpose at the age of 6.
Right.
Some people don't find out their purpose till they 75.
True.
So it's like it really truly depends. But if they have that presence, that person that goes in there and shares that knowledge with them, that
Brings
information, and brings that light to their spirit, then they truly, that can really make a whole difference, not just with that person,
Generational.
but generations.
Definitely.
Within that, I see it as an opportunity, because a lot of brothers, obviously, in that situation, a lot of things are through family, generational cursings. And once we get our people to understand that, okay, when you see a trend in something, your uncle, your father wasn't there, that's your opportunity to, transition that to say, I'm going to continue to create a generational blessing. I'm going to be the one to step in and take that lead role for my future, of my future children's children. So as long as we're keeping that in mind and staying focused on not the now,
neglecting
the now, but also what our future will hold, because
Legacy.
That's what matters, legacy.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Well,
Jonathan.
thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for sharing everything that you have to offer, and we're going to hear a little bit more from you, but we're going to roll into the Giving Excellence commercial that we just released. We're super excited about it. We do offer services, so we do live speaking as well, event show hosts, TV show hosts, any of the above. We're right here at the Spayse Studios here in Dallas, Texas. And we're recording this, but we have different avenues that we're able to service. So if you feel like we're a valuable asset to what you're trying to do at your school, church, wherever it needs, we are active in that. So we're going to show a little commercial here that kind of explains a little bit about what we do here at Giving Excellence. Giving Excellence Movement is a culture of individuals that are transforming the entertainment industry into an educational platform. Through our variety of services, we bring years of study, personal development, mentorship, and life experiences that not only educate the youth, but also aspiring entrepreneurs to walk as a role model and create positive change within their communities. We see there's a major need in the entertainment industry for powerful young role models that the youth can latch onto and bring about lasting change in not only their lives, but the lives of thousands of others that may need a helpful hand to get out of their current circumstances. Our services include live speaking at schools, businesses, and events, TV show and event host, uplifting music production, brand ambassador work such as commercial advertising, acting, and much more. If you would like
After that, then the next day I'm in New Orleans because my dad is doing a book conference, a Write Your Worth book conference in New Orleans. So that's going to be in New Orleans, Louisiana, if y'all want to come out there.
When is that?
That's actually going to be 11:30 through 12/2.
Okay.
So November 30th through December 2nd, and I'm going from TEDx in Dallas, and then going to New Orleans. So that's what I have coming up right now, and then we have some things just in the works we're planning for next year now.
Okay.
We're just reaching out to some more schools and some more colleges around the area.
See that, Mike?
Yep.
He's planning ahead.
Planning ahead.
Hey,
You gotta plan ahead.
We admit our weaknesses here at Giving Excellence
You
Movement,
gotta
and
always
planning
know what you need.
is
to
definitely
improve
something we can improve on. So
Yeah.
we look up to you that you already have next month planned and then beyond.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you so much, man. And every time I see your stuff on your Instagram, Facebook, not that social media is all you have to offer, because that's a huge platform for you, but you do live speaking, and that captivates the audience. You never know who's in the room, and Mike and I have been blessed enough to be able to speak at different environments, and even if it's one kid that we touch, 10 kids or 100 kids that really connect with it, it's the thought, it's the love, it's the heart that matters.
Definitely.
And that one seed can flourish into generational impact on a positive level. So
Yes, sir.
we love what you do. Keep doing
Thank
what
you,
you do,
Jonathan.
because not only are you inspiring the people that you speak with, people are watching you. Your character is amazing. You're always so professional, even leading up to this podcast. I haven't even talked to you about this, but you were very efficient here. And to take your time away because you're such a busy guy, we are so grateful for you.
Truly.
And we'll continue following.
Excellence. We're at Spayse Studio, wrapping up this episode. Got some more coming soon. We greatly appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching.
How can people connect with us, though?
GivingXEXmovement.com, Facebook Giving Excellence Movement, Giving X Instagram as well. So it's all over. Just type in Giving X. We're there. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you from Spayse Studios. We're Giving Excellence Movement with Jonathan Jones Speaks.
Thank you.
Jonathan Jones, he's an author, public speaker, public figure. Thank you so much. Until next time, we love you, we thank you, and we know you can and will give excellence in every area of your lives.